Hey guys, Trickster here. Welcome back to Lucid9, and I looked up how to get a good ending, cause I never would have gotten it otherwise, cause I suck. All right, so oh shit, PS. Uh, oh wait, shit, PS. Fuck. No, load. Go back. Yes. Go south. So accept. Please put in where I am. That's what I was gonna ask for. Blah 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 blah. All right. Okay. Now, two students. Uh, stall. 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 Okay. Hit the girl. Oh shit, piss. I thought I did everything right. Oh, I did. Okay, good. Okay. Stall. 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 Okay. Hit the girl. Alright. Stall. Okay. Hit the girl. Tiring? Aren't you exhausted? You're not strong to face this. Too many squeeze my eyes shut. Fix my head. We can't do this, Diamond. This is wrong. We can't. I swing the pipe. Rug! No, no. It drops from my shaking fingers. Success weighs 2 weeks to put my weight. I can't do this. I'm sure you can. You're doing great. It's pipe. I think the day is bored. Payback, he seems to be saying, but I do nothing. Yeah! That was raw this time. Silence. Blood is starting to trickle from their mouth. Death would be a better option. How much time has passed? I don't know. Might just be me. Ambiguity, bad. Supposed to help me, not this. Okay. Stall. 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 Hey, girl. Alright, supply my falters, my eyes turn to the girl. She no longer has hate in her eyes. It's like some anguish. Everything is just empty. Whispered again, a trivial excuse that does nothing to help the situation. I'm sorry. This time, though, she responds, quietly moving nothing but her mouth. I know. And I swing the pipe. The blow rebounds against my arms, bones for leg fractured from her metal, resulting scream, filter backwards. No one held my arm, no one swung the pipe. If the blow was my choice, no one bears the blame but me. The janitor, just four teenagers and a serial killer with a knife. That and one pipe, one solid pipe in my arms. I can say that I don't know what to do, but I'm helpless. Before more accurate to say I know exactly what to do, and I'm just too scared to do it. Well, no, begging this time, why? I'm almost disappointed. He checks the boy again, and below that crushes his fingers. Boy wretches as he screeched, choking his own vomit. The sound is of a human who's slowly dying. Stop it, please, somehow. I stepped to the side of the girl, gripping the pipe tightly, and its rough patches began to dig into my palms. I got enough time, I tried my best. The police aren't coming. The situation is where there's been way out, any way out there is none. I'm murdering as many of these students as I can. Murder, I've heard so many times, so I can change you. That once you get blood in your hands, you stop being human. Will this happen in this case? Killing this girl turning me into a monster? I don't know. There's 3 innocents here. It's a never-ending cycle of agony, and it would have been better if they just died earlier. It would have been better if I just killed them earlier. I don't want to do this, but is there any other choice? I just want everyone to be okay. Okay, kill the girl. I falter. I stand stiffly, the pipe frozen in my hands. Remember, I wrote every step down. I will get the good ending, damn it. The pipe frozen in my hands. I should just hit her without... Should I just hit her without let the game continue? I can't kill her just to take the easy way out, but I don't think I can help and keep sustaining my sanity. It would be easy. Everything could be over. You don't need to bear this burden. This is this is what my mind is whispering to me, but I don't know whether to trust it or not. If I could see the ending, I would know. If we somehow end up getting out of this, then wouldn't she be glad to be alive even with those injuries because at least she had a second chance at life? This pain, this suffering, it'll hurt and it'll scar. Maybe she could find her dream career or marry a wonderful husband, something that just makes living worthwhile. But if we don't get out of this, and if the only thing that's in store for us is an agonizing death against which we're fighting in futility, it would have been better if I just killed her in the very first stroke. How can I make that judgment? How can I possibly predict that burden? How can I really choose to end someone's life with my own hands? I can't see the ending. I don't understand fate. I wish I could know the answer, but there's nothing for me. No one can see the future. If you dawdle any longer, kid, Rui gets the short end of the stick. Or the pipe, however you prefer to say it. No more time. No more chances. I held out as long as I could. I raised the pipe over my head, aiming directly in line with the girl's skull. She smiles tremulously in understanding and closes her eyes. Acceptance, perhaps even gratitude. Because somehow we've landed in a situation where a quick death is merciful. What if I had been faster? What if I had been smarter? If I had caught Royota before today, none of this would have happened. Why did I sit still in one place and allow this to happen? My arms shake as I will them to descend. I can't hesitate. I need to strike decisively. If I don't, the result will only be unconsciousness and a splitting headache, and no clean death. This girl doesn't deserve to wake up again in this nightmare. No one does. And with that, I guess it's time to become a murderer. I raise the pipe even higher, counting softly in my head. 3. I'm sorry it wasn't enough. 2. I'm sorry you had to face this. 1. Then from outside the windows, light blasts in the classroom, followed by the shrill overtones of a megaphone. Yay! We're not gonna kill anybody! Jiro Ryota, stand down. You are surrounded. Release the students or we will shoot. Am I hearing things? Is my mind so desperate for reprieve that it's throwing up whatever it can stop my pipe? My eyes instinctively search for out Ruiz. Her expression is a mess. Horror mixed with sorrow, mixed with relief. It's real then. Shiguri came. No wait, it's not over. We're still in this room with Ryota. 2 students are still in a very dangerous position where they might lose their lives. I glance at Ryota. He's frozen in shock. His hands automatically patting down his pockets, searching for his phone. The phone that I smashed to pieces with a metal pipe. It just solidifies my suspicions. He would have been notified if I hadn't managed to break that phone. While Ryota is still in shock, we have to run now. He'll chase us. He won't be able to stop himself from chasing us. I lock eyes with Rui, then jerk my head to the door. Thankfully, Ryota is still transfixed on the scene outside, mouth agape in disbelief. Rui quietly slides from her desk, sidles along the wall. Painful inch by painful inch, she comes closer. Hey! I immediately seize her hand and we tear off, running as fast as we can on shaky legs. We don't spare any words. We only shoot up the stairs, breaking onto the rooftop. The smart thing for Ryota to do would be staying right where he is, using the 2 remaining students as hostages to secure his escape. But he won't do that. He'll chase after us, furious, bowling anything out of his way to reach us in time. So at this moment, the best thing we can do is run. We're running. The air is biting cold. It blasts at our faces as I lead Rui to the edge without a break in stride. Why did we go upstairs? Why didn't we go downstairs out of the fucking building? To the line that goes through this row of pots, jump over the edge there. What? Jump! To her credit, she does, leaping over the low railing of the rooftop and plummeting to the ground below. Except, it's not the ground, but the school pool. Oh! The pool over which Yahiko, Masato, and I had stood last year with umbrellas in hand, testing if we could somehow fly with them. I had hated Yahiko for weeks after that moment. I never thought I would be grateful to have joined him. Rui lands safely with a splash and scrambles to the side as fast as she can. I force myself to wait a few agonizing moments for her to swim out of the way, then vault over the edge and... Oh no, you don't! An overpowering hand snatches my collar and yanks me back. Shut up, phone! And yanks me back, crushing my windpipe against my jacket. I'm slammed against the ground of the rooftop, flat on my back. Ryota stands over me, knife loosely handled between his fingers, toying with the edge of my collar with the tip of his blade. His entire face is saturated in a terrifying mix of fury and ecstasy, something that sends chills down my spine. Cute, really, boy, that was quite cute! He lifts me up and presses me against the railing, setting the flat of his blade against my cheek. No, it can't end this way. What a good-hearted soul, ensuring the escape of Rui before you jumped. Someone like you needs a reward. He abruptly turns the knife until the edge rests lightly on my cheekbone. I flinch instinctively, which only broadens his grin. If you want to beg, boy, now would be the time to do it. Like a rat sprinting through a maze, searching for its only chance at exiting, my mind races for a solution. Something. Anything. No, nothing. Wait. Do you not wish to play a bigger role in society than an inconsequential pawn in this game of life? Or will you restrict yourself to the confines of your own abilities, just because of her? My one last chance is this, being vaguely specific. I look Renata square in the eye, willing my voice to be steady, with every last bit of my strength. She was disappointed in you, wasn't she? The result is immediate. Ryota's grin drops, and the grip of his knife loosens, just slightly. His eyes turn completely blank, unseeing. I know for certain that in his mind, he's recalling a dark moment, a terrifying memory, something locked away that he'd never let himself know, let alone a stranger. Remembering tears of regret, a whispered phrase, words that have haunted nightmares every day since they were uttered. I don't allow myself to dwell on the thought. Before I grasp on what I'm doing, I'm already seizing the handle of Ryota's knife, turning the blade, shoving more force than I've ever exerted in my life, driving the tip right up through his abdomen. His body jerks like a rag doll, but not a word passes his lips. The only sound that is uttered I hear is the squish of tissue and organs against metal. For a moment there's silence, broken only by the distant flare of police siren. Distant flare. His grip loosens and his weight falls on my shoulder, driving my arm painfully against the railing. A ragged whisper drifts to my ears, such as our lot, Yama Ishimoto. We are a disappointment. Then, with sudden strength, he grasps my shoulders and tumbles over the railing, pulling me with him. My stomach lurches at the terrifying grasp of gravity as we plummet to the school pool below, falling from the school roof, seized by a serial killer. This is what my existence has been. One struggle for life after another, a constant misstep, a wandering in the wrong direction. Now left with two innocent teenagers, broken and bleeding, their minds irreparable even if their bodies are not. A man once intelligent, once admirable, now driven mad, a knife fixed in his stomach. A clean and polished school, run forever by a legacy of violence. And who knows how many lives shattered. The air tears my face and clothes, screaming past my ears. Ryota's blood flies from his wound, coating the front of my jacket. Ah, that's right. I stabbed someone. I crashed to the pool with stinging force. Tendrils of blood disperse in the chlorine water like snake silk. Ryota's iron grip on my shoulder loosens at the impact. Bubbles gurgle from his lips, brushing past my face as they pop to the surface. I'm no longer holding the knife, but I still feel the form and weight of its handle between my fingers. This is what I've done. For a moment, I let myself drift in the freezing water. There's no point swimming up to the surface, really. Wouldn't it be just easier to just drift away? Come back up to the world and I'll face a long hospital trip, a court case, catching up on essays about second wave world citizens, and worksheets on deriving trigonomic theorems, take the exams, go to some university, major in something or another, get a white-collar job, marry, have kids, die. All this after trashing another human being's system to a pulp. Someone who might not recover physically, who will never recover emotionally. Is there even a point? Existential nihilism, the belief that there is no meaning, no value, nothing to life. I vaguely remember being terrified of the notion when I first heard about it in class. Most students just laughed it off. How stupid. How depressing. Life has no purpose. Whoever made up this has issues. But it was too close to me. Living a life of homework, keeping my head down, and going through each day, wondering where I was and what I was doing. Maybe I've been trying too hard to find meaning where there is none. Maybe I've been desperately grasping for straws to find some kind of significance in an inconsequential existence. From a strictly technical point of view, this is not the time to be thinking philosophical thoughts. Being at the bottom of a pool, just an arm's reach away from a serial killer, probably only 30 seconds left before I run out of breath and starting to drown. Any sensible person would leave this Socrates session for another day and wait until all basic needs are met first. Guess I'm not as sensible as I thought. Either that, or I can't bring myself to be. You can lead a student to air, but you can't make him breathe. That's how the saying should go. Very dark. Maybe I should just sleep. I suddenly feel so tired. Oh shit, PS. I think I've been here before. That's right. This is a familiar road. There's a sign at an intersection, I think. It's rickety and rusted, worn from use. There's no words on it, just two arrows, one pointing forward and one pointing backward. I'd just like to stay here. A fork in the road is such a dangerous thing. Left to right, a one-time decision, and if it turns out that you run into an obstacle, then you'll find yourself wishing that you made the other choice. Then don't you start overthinking everything? What if I'd taken the other road? What if the other road was worse? What if there was another road if I only looked harder? What if I hadn't taken a road at all? What if I'd gone backwards? Two roads diverged into a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that made all the difference. A poem written by Robert Frost, originally intended to be a simple teasing joke, a hint of playful satire at indecision. But people saw it as something else. Even though they weren't poets, they started adding their own kinds of verses to the composition. Independence, individualism, science, discovery, curiosity, free will, and the human condition. Poor Robert Frost. Suddenly he had written an entirely different poem, even without touching his pen. Two roads diverged in the wood, and heavily medicated doctor. Anytime he's coherent, he thrashes around. We have to sedate him every time. How long? 2 weeks. The record? Here, sir. I assume that when he screams for her, he's referring to the other patient. We think so, sir, but she's still in recovery with therapy. We haven't been able to get her in here. What's her progress? She started speaking again after her parents came with the photo album. We're also hoping that the daily fresh air will help her walk. And how about her arm? Psychosomatic like her legs. We'll be monitoring it over therapy. Good, she'll likely be our fastest ticket to his recovery. But it might be a while before Miss Hayata is able to. Rui? Ah, Mr. Ishimoto, are you awake? Can you see me? Rui. Mr. Ishimoto, can you tell me? Where's Rui? Where did you take her? Where did you take her? She's supposed to be here. Safe. Hold him down. Show me Rui. My own 2 eyes. The eyes of him. Give her back! Give her! Here comes the candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head. Chip, chop, chip, chop, the last man's dead. Sometimes I really wonder about children's nursery rhymes. Why do we let young kids listen to such twisted ideologies? Children aren't supposed to deal with this kind of stuff. They're supposed to be innocent. Supposed to be innocent. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and... My world suddenly feels warm. What is this? Why is it happening? I suddenly get the impression that I'm awake. I think someone's holding my arm. The tips of my fingers feel warm, like they're being cradled in a loving palm. Everything else is blinding light that drills into the back of my eyes. Home. Home is here. Home. Finally got to visit you. I'm sorry for the way I had to go through therapy to start talking again. I know that the whole thing is over thanks to you, but whenever I close my eyes, well, I guess I'm really thankful that the doctors could help me. I just hope that it'll be the same for you. Well, I'll let you rest up. You need a lot of it. Oh, and this whole thing? Doctors say I'll be out of this in weeks. It's apparently all in my head. Honestly, though, the wheelchair's not all that bad. I kind of feel like royalty. You know how they say... You know how they had those... What are they called? Sedans? And they got carried around all the time? I guess this feels like that. Oh, and Yama? I love laughing at your grades. So hurry up and get well, dummy. I dream a little longer. My dreams are softer now, a little more delicate, like lace that says sandpaper. I see a young kid grasping the hand of his older sister. In another world, that kid grows up to be more confident, more assured. He learns how to deal with bullies so that he won't bother his sister. He learns how to study hard and make friends and play soccer like all the other boys his age. He doesn't withdraw, lost in his room. He doesn't keep to himself on the playground. He's a happy young boy who turns into a happy teenager. He goes to the prestigious middle school in the area, the academy, to follow his sister's footsteps. Because this family never left the city. His family never fled to a suburban little town 3 hours away from Isamu. His family stayed because in this other world, there was never an event that had to do with a bus, a blizzard, a loose tread, a frozen river. So the young boy also stayed. Maybe he meets a lively orange-haired girl at the middle school. Maybe he befriends her because she's lovable and bright and impossible to dislike. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he falls in with a different crowd, a sea of faces that play soccer and grab ramen on snowy days and study in the library when it's raining. Either way, he flourishes, loves his life, maybe even dates once or twice. He studies hard for the college entrance exams, and he passes with flying colors in this other world. He makes it into the university of his dreams, studies something that he loves. Graduates, finds a girl, gets married. Maybe she has orange hair. Maybe she doesn't. He finds a good job, has kids, smiles like an idiot when his daughter wraps her fingers around his pinky. He'll name her after his sister, the one who's alive and well, who married a decent guy and had kids of her own. Then that boy who turned into a teenager, who turned into a man, will wake up one day and he'll be happy. He'll be whole, and he'll be wondering if this was all there was to life. My eyes peel open sluggishly, like they hadn't done so for a decade. My muscles feel weak and lifeless, splintered slugs on a sidewalk. My throat's dry and my head is smarting. So, looks like I'm in the hospital. I notice that a nurse is at my bedside, filling with the IV drip on the table. She seems tired, drawn eyes, tight frown. I clear my throat to get her attention. Excuse me. The words eject a queasy croak. The nurse jumps at the wrong noise, but relaxes when she notices me. Oh, wonderful, you're awake! Her voice is chipper, but I notice how her eyes meet me with caution, like I'll lunge out of bed and strangle her if she makes any sudden move. Do you remember your name? Yama Ishimoto. Good. Do you remember how you got here? By ambulance, I'd assume. I wheezed a dry laugh. Everything seems funny. The nurse eyes me for a minute, then presses the intercom. Doctor, the patient's awake. Can you speak with him? They give me a basic physical exam, followed by a psychological inventory. I give all the answers I think are correct, and expect an immediate release. I'm ready to get back to my life. Instead, they take me to a room with a plush couch and contemporary lamp, where a man sits in an armchair and tries to get me to talk about my life. Therapy. I've been through it too many times. It's gotten quite old over the years. I'm so familiar with the proceedings that I resign myself to playing mind games with the therapist. Can I predict before he asks? Can I redirect his questions? But it's not such a smooth and humorous process. Therapy makes me recall everything. Breaking limbs with a pipe, my own two hands, driving myself insane, stabbing someone in the gut. During the first session, I black out. They tell me later that I crumbled into a ball and refused to respond to anything until Rui came. Rui, now out of her wheelchair. You've been in the hospital for 2 months, she said. Wow. Rui holds my hand in the next session. I squeeze it until I'm afraid I'll snap her fingers, just like I snapped those bones. She whispers, you're innocent. Don't worry. It was all Ryota's fault. You're a victim. I feel blood on my hands whenever the session is over. I go to the bathroom to wash my hands once, twice, 5 times over. It still runs slick and steady over my wrists and into my forearms when I exit the bathroom. I stop speaking for a few days. There's nothing to talk about. I have too many sounds to remember. Too much cacophony thrumming in the space between my ears. Rui sits by me, feeds me when I have no strength to lift a spoon, pulls the covers to my chin like my mom should have done. She tells me stories, a princess and a knight, a detective and a bar singer, a celebrity and an unfortunate grocer. Some days I just sit and hold her hand, watching her eyes dance as she paints imaginary canvases with her words. Speaking so much tires her out quickly. Sometimes she nods off in the middle of a sentence, so I lean her head on my shoulder and listen to the even rhythm of her breath. It's softer than the discord in my brain. Sometimes it lulls me to sleep too. Then comes the session where I remember everything, every last bit, and I lose consciousness again. They say that they found me standing on the hospital rooftop, leaning against the banister with my arms spread wide, as if I was welcoming the city into a warm embrace. They instantly rushed me down, terrified that I'd try to kill myself. Calm down, I said. My smile was distant. I was just enjoying the view. They didn't believe me, so I'm confined to my room for a while. No one is allowed to see me except Rui, not even my own parents. They say it's because I didn't react well to the presence when I was delirious. So like the beast with his beauty, I'm holed up in a hospital room, counting the days until I can pass the psychological inventory. Rui brings gifts from others, envelopes and gift-wrapped boxes, and overly large bags that can only been funded by Yahiko's purse. They're nice, and the thought is touching, but I tell Rui to return them all. I plan on staying here, keeping the blood on my hands in one room. Rui cries every time, a heartbreaking, frustrated kind of crying as she punches me in the shoulder and yells that it's not my fault, it's Ryota's. Why can't I get that through my head? But even if my brain agrees, my hands remember the scratchiness of the pipe, the vibration of each terrible impact, the oozing, sinking feeling of a knife sinking into flesh. So I only can kiss her on the forehead and thank her for staying with me. She doesn't blush. She doesn't even look remotely embarrassed. In fact, I think the gesture only makes her angrier. We're gonna make you well, Yama, she screams this out the window, like some kind of oath. You're gonna be just fine. I attend more sessions. Stay isolated from family and friends. My parents pay for the sessions, but I see nothing more of them. Legally, they're allowed to see me, but they don't insist. They probably don't really want to see me anyway. They haven't for years. More days slip by. Wonder if our friends have moved on with their lives, gone back to school, prepared for the university exams, started dating. When I started speaking again, I asked Rui how long we've been at the hospital. 2 months and 2 weeks, she said. Is that it? Seems so much longer. I continue sessions, go for walks, eat hospital food. I think I start to heal because the world feels a little less empty with each passing day. It's not my fault. I decide to say this to the mirror every morning, even if I don't believe it. Maybe if I say it enough, maybe if I raise my chin and put my hands on my hips, maybe if I act like I believe it, then I'll believe it. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I stare into my reflection, meaningless words pouring from my lips. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most broken of them all? It seems to whisper back. Broken you may be, young man, but I see one more broken still. Someone with nothing but blood in his eyes, no person to love. Someone who fell into darkness until one day, to ease his pain, he had suddenly become a serial killer. Mirror, mirror, couldn't I become that man myself? In another world, a boy damaged by an accident, growing up alone and reserved, nothing but the shadows of his constant companion. That boy could grow up into a twisted teenager, who can grow up into a twisted man. But I think I understand. None of this that happened. What more do I need to worry about? Maybe I disfigured an innocent student. Maybe I stabbed a human being. Maybe I took part in a nightmare that never should have been dreamt. But in this world, in these circumstances, I am not twisted. Lonely. I'm not a twisted, lonely little boy. I grew up showered with love, surrounded by friends, given it an ordinary school life. The me standing here and now wouldn't voluntarily lift a pipe or a knife to hurt someone without purpose, because I'm not anyone else. Eventually, I stopped talking to my reflection. I stopped washing my hands every half hour. I feel at peace, I think. At the very least, I stopped blacking out. Rui says it's been 3 months since her hospitalization. Isamu is now deep in the hold of summer with a blazing July sun and humid forest wind. School is probably back in session. It doesn't stop us from receiving gifts, cards, letters, candy. Well, we get swamped by them, of course. Surprisingly, even I receive a few. This time, I return them for a different reason. Not because I plan on cutting off outer contact, but because I plan on seeing them in person. Both of us go through more psychological tests. This time they seem happier with our responses, because they finally open the doors. I don't expect visitors, to be honest. Although I'm no longer bedridden after taking walks around the hospital wing, I expect that the others have gone on with their lives. 3 months is a long time in the hurried pace of a student. But to my surprise, the moment that the hospital lifted my quarantine, 2 figures race into the room in a blur. Minion! It's Yahiko and Masato, dressed in their school uniforms. They're practically bursting with energy. For some reason, seeing them brings tears to my eyes. Embarrassed, I turned away. Dude, these past months have felt like forever. I can't believe that this happened. I can still remember. You didn't come to school the other day, and no one knew where you were, and Rui wasn't talking about you. And suddenly, no one could find Rui, and no one could find you, and a hint of his mask comes crumbling down. For the first time, I see Yahiko's face twisted in true pain. I was thinking that you guys be gone, just like Hiro, Soji, Akane. He grits his teeth, shuddering. All I can do is awkwardly pat him on the shoulder. I've always known that each of Mr. Ryota's victims were connected to Yahiko, but for some reason, I'd never actually considered what that did to Yahiko. It's amazing, really. How could Yahiko even stay standing? How could he still smile, still laugh, even as people he knew were dying? I'd always thought of him as kind of weak, and more than kind of stupid, but it looks like he was actually stronger than any of us. He was even right at the scene of Soji's death and saw him die with his own eyes. At the time, the scene looked suspicious, but now that I think about it, wasn't Yahiko just trying to prevent a suicide? Wasn't that why I had found Soji in the river? I almost wanted to ask about it, but something tells me that Yahiko's had enough. Well, I'm okay, apparently. Yahiko stills, his mouth turning up in a forced smile. Yeah, I guess so. But still, I didn't do anything. What could you do? You didn't even know where we were. Yahiko's eyes shift to the side, and he clears his throat. Masato's eyebrows tighten slightly, but he says nothing. Actually, Shiguri called us. What? Well, I mean, technically, I guess it was after the fact, but still. We need to know why you were hospitalized. So we kinda just piled on a bunch of questions. She explained everything, the cases, her investigation. She said we deserved to know. Shiguri told them? Why would Shiguri tell them? It simply doesn't make sense. At the very least, she'd be wasting her time. Beyond that, she'd be spilling confidential information with no clear purpose. So well, we told Akira and Misaki, since Akira's the best friend of Rui, and Misaki knows you both. And Elizabeth ended up overhearing, and apparently Shiguri had told Eri. We visited you a few times, but you either knocked out or you started thrashing around. And then they kicked us out entirely. So that's why they stayed so worried. That's why they were so persistent with the gifts. I guess not every day that one of your friends tries to fight a serial killer. A smile of gratitude tugs at my lips, and I feel a little warmer inside. They really cared a lot for us, didn't they? Thank you, Yahiko. Yahiko only nods mutely. I glance at Masato, only to find that he's still stewing. Come to think of it, he hasn't said a word. Masato? Damn it! Yahiko and I jump at Masato's sudden exclamation, yeah. I'm a shack and full of dumber. The fullest dumber. What? He quiet slightly, speaking through gritted teeth. I was stupid blind. I didn't see nothing but myself. I'm really sorry, man. Wait, where is this coming from? Honestly, I'm just surprised to see him here. It wasn't fair to you, man. I was throwing a tantrum like little Hibiki. Saying all those words, not listening to you. It was something only a shack and full of dumber would do. Should have asked what's going on instead of assuming everything. Oh, his apology catches me off guard. Well, thanks, but he was right. Just after he told me to be kind to Rui, I treated her like trash. Maybe he could sense it coming. Maybe he saw that something was wrong with me. Wait. Now that I'm paying more attention, I notice that Masato's hair is damp. Not only that, there's a faint smell of chlorine? Masato, were you just swimming? Huh? Well, yes. Yeah, I guess. Technically it's summer, and technically it's pretty normal to be swimming, but something turns slowly in my brain, disused but still keen. Well, you know, all you talk about is track. You're almost probably tired of hearing it by now. But I just don't run. I can swim too, and do basketball. Masato can swim. In fact, he can swim well. Masato's incredibly athletic, and the last person who had spoken to before I seen Soji drowning in that river, before I almost drowned, had been Masato. He could have easily hauled Soji and me to shore, even if we were both hopeless at swimming. Odd. It was 3 months ago, but each memory feels as vivid as yesterday. Vibrant, full of life. I guess I should seize the moment. Did you save us? Save who now? Me and Soji from drowning 3 months ago. Oh. That's definitely a yes. It's not like he forgot saving 2 people from drowning, even if it was 3 months ago. Wait, you guys almost drowned? Well, we didn't, thanks to Masato. Yahiko's face twists for a moment, and for one terrible second, I think he's about to cry. And then... Did you see a mermaid? Now, my good man, this is a very important question. You must answer. There was a mermaid, wasn't there? Beautiful, with long hair and a voice that sounded like a real nice voice? To answer that, or not to answer? Why not? Well, she sang just like you. Really? She must have been amazing. It was definitely worthy of awe. I knew it. The hell you're saying, Ryama? There wasn't no mermaid. What? This overdramatic gasp is punctured with a very long silence. And then Masato snorts. I chuckle. Hiko giggles. And pretty soon the 3 of us are collapsed to the ground, rolling with uncontrollable laughter. My sides ache and my chest heaves, and every possible muscle on every possible limb is protesting with a sore ache, but it feels good, like the stress is just melting out of my body. Finally, we pick ourselves up, brushing at our eyes. Good to see you still with us, man. Might want to start taking a rest, cause there's a lot of people waiting to talk with you. You're almost as famous as I am. Wait, what? Later, man. Rest up, good minion. I'm putting you to work the moment you recover. Wait, what do you mean I'm... But they've already skipped out of the room, leaving me completely bewildered. I wait for another visitor. My door doesn't open again. Maybe people are coming later? It would be nice, after talking to Masato and Yahiko. Everything feels normal. Kind of like the world, after being knocked off course, has found its bearings again. On your feet, soldier! Yak! I startled on my beauty sleep to find Akira, Eri, and Elizabeth are seated in the chairs next to my bed. For a moment, my groggy mind scrambles to piece together reality. Right, hospital. They must be visiting me. Oh hey, it actually worked! But he seems a bit disoriented. Well, we simply can't have that, can we? Sick him, Eri. Or don't. Elizabeth clears her throat and arches an eyebrow in my direction. So, Yama Ishimoto. So, Elizabeth Oshiro. She suddenly lurches to her feet, glaring darkly at me. I want to know what the bloody hell you were thinking when you decided to do something so barmy. What? Going to face down a serial killer alone, unarmed? What are we planning to do? Sneeze on him? Her chiding catches me off guard, but it doesn't grate on my nerves. It actually seems caring, in the weirdest way. It is unavoidable. Yama is the protagonist. Precisely. It's exactly something that, say, the main character in a novel would do. Well, this isn't a bloody novel. Correct. It's a visual novel. Breaking the fourth wall much? You know what? I'm not even going to ask. Yeah, that one's beyond even me. I relax against my pillows. Their energetic presence light up the room. Presences light up the room. I haven't realized how much I miss just being an ordinary kid, hanging out with his friends and getting ready for university. Until now. Right, ordinary life. Friends. I can just talk about normal stuff. Stupid stuff. I clear my throat awkwardly, struggling for words. So, how's school been? Wait, you're asking about school? Who are you and what have you done with Yama Ishimoto? Well, it's a welcome break from thinking about serial killers. You speak truth. She turns to Elizabeth, as if deferring to authority. Elizabeth smiles appreciatively. Well, the Academy's been fighting it off as long as possible, but they were finally forced to shut down. Just today, actually. The public scandal was too much for them to bribe off, apparently. The police are currently conducting an investigation to see how deep this murder scheme goes, and why it seems to center around Yahiko Ikari. Before I can stop it, my brain automatically kicks back to the investigation mode. Have they found anything yet? Unfortunately, no. It's unusual, actually, but how clean and tidy these killings are. There's no ties to any faculty, no apparent motive, no links to any accomplices, and Mr. Ryota has gone off his trolley from the moment he's been apprehended. Nothing he says makes any sense. I briefly recall discussion about Aztec gods and blood rituals. It seems so far away. Yeah, I'm not very surprised. Wait, he's alive? But why could he mask his insanity so well while he was a door manager? It's practically a personality Hey, Elizabeth, Yama's supposed to be resting from this. It's fine, Akira. This is important stuff. Nope, you need a rest. Rui's orders. I can rest as much as I want later. Isn't the academy closed? Actually, there's an interesting story behind that too. Akira expels an exaggerated sigh, but I'm already honed in on Elizabeth's words. What do you mean? Don't you find it odd that there's no reporters hovering around? That you haven't received a single request for an interview? Maybe I'm not cute enough. Oh, for the love of... They haven't been around Rui's room either. Oh, well, when she puts it that way, it's definitely suspicious. I would have thought that kind of juicy scandal would draw reporters like Karen Birds to a corpse. So, there's no news coverage? They've covered Mr. Ryota's killing spree and arrest, but there's nothing on the closure of the academy. It's as if the national news network is simply ignoring the fact that it all happened at school. Wait, what? But the job of the news is to inform the people! One would hope, but in this case, there's not a peep from them. Sober silence falls all over the room. No news for closing the academy? Come to think of it, the NNN used to cover the murders extensively, but I haven't seen much from them recently. Or maybe that's just because I don't watch the news much. Well, we should get going. You need to rest up. She reaches out a hand as if to pat me on the shoulder, but suddenly withdraws it, looking away. Bye! She quickly runs out of the room. Elizabeth snorts, but her features eventually soften into, dare I say it, admiration. Rescuing Rui was an admirable feat, Yama Ishimoto. Utterly batty, perhaps, but admirable. With these parting words, she turns on one heel and strides out. Wait, Ari is the only one left. Her gaze fixes on me, almost as if she's examining an alien specimen. What is it? You seem uncomfortable. Actually, this bed's really nice. Not that kind of uncomfortable. I wait for her to elaborate, but she doesn't say anything more. She only slips back into her chair. I can sing. Singing can help you sleep. Oh, thanks. Something about the weight of her words makes me think that this is more than an offering to sing. It's almost an expression of trust. I like that. Ari smiles just the teeniest bit and closes her eyes. The intricate melody that spills from her lips practically eases my muscles into butter. I'd forgotten how nice her voice sounded. It barely takes me any time before I slipped away from consciousness. I wake up on my own this time. I expect the room to be vacant, to be accompanied only by the ticking of the clock, to be utterly silent, but instead I'm greeted with the sight of a girl seated in the chair beside my bed. Wait, not girl, woman. Shiguri? She doesn't even look up from. Is that a book she's reading? No, files. Long files, apparently. Ah, Ishimoto, you're awake. Or sleep-talking. Highly improbable. I smirked at that. Even Shiguri seems to be smiling. So what brings you to my humble abode? Shouldn't you be working? Ryota has already been apprehended. I see no further need for my presence in the precinct. What? Really? Shiguri's eyebrows gave the barest twitch of irritation. Or is there more to this story? Like maybe, I don't know, they officially considered the case closed, so you're no longer granted access to the investigation? Bullseye. That's kind of strange. Aren't you the reason why they managed to get Ryota in the first place? I expect her to explode in a fit of intricate insults, but instead, she hunches over as if a large weight is bearing down on her shoulders. There are unusual movements in Isamu Ishimoto. Something is stirring beneath the surface, something bigger than any of us could ever imagine. And I am the chosen one, born to master the 5 elements to take down the ultimate evil in the world. Absolutely not. Then maybe the shining sword for the chosen one? Oh please, at best you're a blunt arrow, sharper than the average rock, but only just. Ouch. Can you give me back the Shiguri from 3 months ago? I liked her better. I'm afraid she'll never make another appearance. But when she snaps the file shut, her smirk softens into a genuine smile. It is good that you did not die, Ishimoto. Although I am uncertain of its relevance, I told myself that as soon as you were coherent, I might relate my story to you. What's that supposed to mean? You may have noticed my certain unusual reaction to your phone call. I knew that you wouldn't have believed me. You never even needed me as your assistant in the first place. I wouldn't have believed you? But you didn't even try. I would have believed you. I would. If you just trusted me. Or if you just... Ah, now that you mention it. I've never seen Chiguri that emotional. Not even when we ran into Natsuki. For time's sake, as well as the sake of your interest, I shall keep my tale short. Despite her confident start, she gives a marked pause before she continues. I get the feeling that she hasn't talked about her story very often. Somehow the idea makes me feel special. I was difficult to get along with in my youth. Only in your youth, I think automatically, but I keep my mouth shut. Most decided to keep their distance from me. As a method of coping, I kept to books. Hence her occasional bursts of ridiculous vocabulary, I'd guess. For the most part, the majority of my peers were inane and superficial. Losing their acquaintanceship was no loss. However, one day, a boy approached me. The very traits that others hated so much about me, he found fascinating. He became my truest friend over time. I have few memories apart from him. We even decided to engage in matrimony as we studied in university. After, of course, we found stable jobs. I finished my schooling within 2.5 years, at which point I began my detective agency. Wait, 2.5 years? That sounds crazy. She must have taken max units, enrolled in classes over an interim, studied without breaks. I dearly loved my field of study and greatly looked forward to my field of work. Aside from the late nights, it was of no difficulty. Somehow I find that hard to believe. At any rate, one of my first cases was working in conjunction with the police. There was a particularly vicious triple murder, closely related to the family of my betrothed. He put forward a suspect. I believed his mind to be clouded by emotion and disregarded it. So he left and found another detective. I went to the other idea. That must have really hurt her pride. Shiguri noticed my reaction and raises an eyebrow. It was a sore betrayal, Ishimoto. My pride was not the only aspect that was in pain. Maybe akin to Rui losing trust in you, even though you thought that she, of all people, would continue to support you. Just the thought sends me reeling. I quickly decide not to consider it again. The suspect in my betrothed before was eventually, as I suspected, found to be innocent. Except no sooner after receiving his verdict, the allegedly innocent man tracked my betrothed's residence and... She pauses. The edges of her expression crumbles as she holds strong. There was another murder that day, one I could not handle. Oh. All I wished for was to take back my actions. I wished that he had believed in me, and that I had believed in him. So when I had run around myself, but when I had been playing to face Ryota on my own initiative. No wonder she was so panicked. A repeat in history, a sickening time loop. Shiguri doesn't deserve that. Thank you for telling me. She only shrugs wordlessly. It may help your resolve when it comes to Rui. Learn from my mistakes, Ishimoto. This is my gravest instruction. What do you mean? What does that have to do with Rui? Leave no regrets. That is all I mean. No regrets? Is she telling me to start dating Rui, just like everyone else? Thought seems odd, kind of trivial. Maybe the past 3 months could contribute to that. Shiguri notes my uneasy expression and stands to her feet somewhat abruptly. Regardless, there are other matters I must see to, but you have earned a well-deserved rest. Oh shit, piss! She extends a flat white envelope to me, stamped with pay stub? Wait, what's this? Your pay. I dare say it's deserved. But you never said you'd pay me. I mentioned it multiple times, actually. You simply did not listen. She pushes the envelope into my hand. My fingers numbly accept it. Wow. Thanks. It's unexpectedly generous of her. Farewell, Ishimoto. Rest up. She whisks out of the room, leaving me with the envelope. Well, I never thought she'd actually pay me. She didn't seem like the type. Hesitantly, I tear the envelope open and unfold the sheet of paper inside. It's an official-looking invoice with 3 printed lines, accompanied by a scribbled note. Income pay, 100,000 yen, theme park tickets, 100,000 yen, debt 10,000 yen. However, as my magnanimity knows no bounds, I shall benignly waive your debt. I totally should have seen this coming. She didn't pay me diddly shit. Farewell, Ishimoto. Let us depart. Really? And you're paying for everyone? Oh yes, with your future wages. I should have known something like that was up the moment Shiguri started complimenting me. Nevertheless, I'm chuckling to myself even as I slip the pay stub back into the envelope. That's definitely more like Shiguri. Still grinning, I settle back for some more sleep. I know with satisfaction that the heaviness of my limbs is much less substantial than before. I wake up to a soft knock at the door. Huh, someone actually knocked. Who would have thought? Come in! This time it's Misaki who slips through the door. She wordlessly walks over to my side and embraces me. I stiffen awkwardly at her touch. Miki? I'm so glad you're okay, Yama. When I heard they were allowing visitors, I rushed here as soon as I could. I was starting to think I would never see you again. She drops off into silence for a moment. I feel her fingers clutch at my hospital gown. Yahiko and Masato told me about the investigation, about your involvement with the case. Yeah, sorry for not telling you. You didn't have to. I just wanted to say you did well, Yama. The simple words make my throat swell. Before I can respond, she releases me, settling into the chair nearest my bed. I immediately take note of the stress weighing on her features. I can't read. She looks a lot more tired than I remember. Something wrong? It's just something about the case still worries me. Have you heard about the recent uproar on Patter? Can't say I have. Well, it seems the murder has caused a political firestorm. People are angry at how the government handled the incident. Wait, why is the government getting backlash? Aren't the murders a local issue? Misaki shakes her head. After his re-election last week, Mayor Inori held a press conference. According to reports, Mr. Ryota was an immigrant. Not many are happy that a foreigner was able to murder innocent civilians within their borders, so the mayor blamed Japan's government for granting amnesty to the undocumented workers to compensate for the financial crash of 2007. He even proposed for Isami to break away from the country's incompetence by becoming an independent state. I can only remain stunned in silence at this revelation. Mayor Inori is using the murders as his political platform. With all this attention revolving around Ryota, why is the Academy being excluded from the media? Do you know if they mentioned the Academy at all? They haven't. That's what worries me the most. It's almost as if... She trails off, seemingly lost in thought. As if what? As if someone were attempting to cover up the school's involvement. A cover-up? I know, it's a bit of a stretch, but listen to this. She retrieves her phone from her pocket. Remember how the Academy has quite a few sponsors? Isn't that why it's so prestigious, you know? Career Day and all? Exactly, so I figured, what if they were afraid of people knowing they were affiliated with a school who hired a murderer? Then how were they able to censor the media? That, I still don't know. She says this dejectedly, sticking into her seat. Yama? Yeah? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have worried you with this. It's fine, thanks for telling me. I suppose I should let you rest. I still need to speak with Rui. I'm sure you'll be alright. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Miki. Of course. Rest well, Yama. After flashing one last smile, she strides out of the door. It was surprising to see Misaki so anxious. Then again, it's only natural considering everything that's happening. The Academy is being excluded from the media, the citizens are fed up with the government, Mayor Inori is calling for sovereignty, it seems change is imminent for Isamu. The fact that the murders have garnered so much attention on the scale that still boggles my mind. Not wanting to dwell on it for too long, I forced myself to clear my head. I can think more on this later. For now, I should focus on the people around me. That's probably all I can do. Holy shit, is this game ever gonna end? The next video comes around an hour after Misaki. She's dressed in her school uniform like she's just an ordinary student going to an ordinary school, ready to face another long, ordinary day of classes. And ordinary teachers. This eye is so ordinary that it makes my throat sore. After these past 3 months, after remembering how she dragged me through therapy, after all that she's been through, just looking at her makes me hopeful that life will one day return to normal. She kicks back in the chair by my bed, face shining with a typical grin. Morning, lazyhead. Morning. What's with the uniform? I don't know. I kinda missed it after a while. Come again? It's not that bad, I mean. Being forced to wear it kinda sucks, but when you don't have to wear it anymore, it feels weird. Like, hey, I'm still a second year. I have another 365 days before becoming old foggy. I flicker forward with a mocking frown. Who are you calling old foggy? Who do you think? Are you sure you want to stick with that statement? What is that supposed to mean? You know, being an old foggy is pretty good life. I get killer discounts. I don't have to work, and I have to say any offensive thing I want. On second thought, never mind. Too late. Now I have old person privileges. Heaven help us all. It's a little weird teasing each other like this after what we've been through, but I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, this would function as an amazing segue into a different topic of conversation. Oh no, don't do it. Speaking of old foggies, how are your parents doing? I hate you. I know. She kicks my bed with a little but petulant response. They've been visiting over the past few months. They couldn't come in here though, because, you know, because I was isolated, because I was unstable. But I couldn't leave to talk with them at any time. They're really thankful. It'd be nice if you come over for dinner sometime. They'd like to talk to you about something. Anytime. Sounds like we're both going back to Seto. Yeah, since school's closed, they want me to go back home, probably tomorrow. They visited earlier. You didn't see them? No, I was probably sleeping. Maybe. Did something happen? Oh, well, you know, Dad said that something important happened at work. He probably got caught up in it as usual. Well, that makes sense. Rui bites her lip and meets my gaze. I really think you should contact your parents. The air grows a little chilly. My fingers dig into the blankets. No need. The hospital probably has. Okay. We sit in silence for another moment. As Rui works to find words to say. Yama? But the door suddenly flies open, and familiar faces pour into the room. Yahiko, Masato, Masaki, Akari, Akira, Elizabeth, and Eri all race to my bedside. Up and at 'em, coach. You have been hereby acquitted of all crimes. What? I think she means you're allowed to leave the hospital. And the doctors told you guys this, not me? Come on, man. Only a pansy sits around and twiddles his thumbs when there's work to be done. In other words, you got tired of waiting. Well, technically, my good minion, Yama is officially released, all due to my considerable influence. Uh-huh, I'm sure. Actually, the scary thing is he's probably telling the truth. I really need to ask him about, well, everything. Eventually. Oh, get up already. Elizabeth suddenly seizes my arm and pulls me out of bed, shoving a handful of clothing in my face. Get dressed. We have something to show you. The others smile excitedly, poised on the tips of their toes. Rui grins encouragingly. Lead the way. After giving me a few minutes to change into a spare uniform, we check out of the hospital and clamber into a limousine supposedly paid for by Yahiko. The group's in a chatty mood as we wind down the streets to a familiar shopping complex by the academy. Laughter, jokes, and teasing chase away the tension in the air. We stop in front of Café de la Pax, where Yahiko bounds up to the door and opens it with a flourish. Huh, deja vu. After you, my good minions. I'm floored as we step through the door. Colorful streamers and balloons are plastered around half the cafe. Decorated letters proclaiming, "Welcome back, heroes," hanging from the ceiling. Yes, you can see all the decorations. It's a stark contrast from the slick and sophisticated furnishings, but that doesn't stop my gratitude. Is this for us? I certainly don't see anyone else. You guys. Ruby covers her face with her hands. I just... Thank you. Aw, it ain't nothing, just a couple of balloons and streamers. I wanted to rent a dragon, but Elizabeth said it'd be a fire hazard. Not to mention the minor problem that dragons don't exist anymore. Hey, don't forget who's paying for all this. Praise me, praise me! Wow, to think he actually would say that out loud. Thank you for your generosity. Elizabeth said these words plainly and honestly. Could they actually be getting along? But of course, my lady. This is pocket change in comparison to the Akari family treasury. Elizabeth's good mood quickly falters, and Masaki's eyes light up in realization. Pocket change? Akari wealth is insurmountable, lovely maiden. Truly, your generosity is unimaginable. How kind your spirit is to provide our lowly company with a bountiful feast of refreshments. Refreshments? Oh, so you agree. The hospitality of an Akari is beyond measure. I shall make certain that all of my followers learn of this. All of your followers? Okay, Miki, that's just evil. I believe that 8 orders of high tea will be sufficient for our party. High tea? Now time to write that pat. This is beginning to feel like extortion. Okay, 8 orders of high tea, coming right up. The poor soul. I watched with sympathy as he slides over to the counter, attempting to flirt with the server for a discount. Meanwhile, Akari and Elizabeth have dragged 3 tables together and arranged 8 chairs in an even eclipse. Have a seat, we've something special planned. Even more than all this? You didn't think that we dragged your asses all the way here just to drink some plain plant water, did you? Elizabeth seemed fairly offended at this disparagement of her beloved tea, but remained silent as Masato flings something out of his backpack. Ta-da! A heavy, ragged binder lands squarely in the center of the table, stuffed to the brim with stacks of paper. A binder? Ooh, the last time I saw one of these was during the Edo period. It ain't that old! We're all surprised when Eri suddenly snatches the binder, flipping through it like a madman. She smiles, the closest thing I've ever seen to a broad smile from her. It's an RP? Yeah. Can I be GM? Her eyes are almost shining. I've never seen her so happy before. Well, sure, I was gonna do it if no one wanted, but I want to. Huh, role-playing. Who would have thought? I didn't know you liked board games, Masato. What? This ain't a board game. It's an artifact of story creation that weaves intricate tales of a hero's development. Me and the boys at home played it all the time. Little Hibiki had to be the healer, though, cause he couldn't sustain a good poundin'. I have an ominous feeling about this. How exactly did you play RPGs? Acted out, of course. How else are you supposed to play them? Oh boy. Who needs dice anyway? This way, it's all down to skill. No dice. No, dice are imperative. The firms from Ares shocks us into brief silence. Dice are pansy. Well, hey, you're GM. That was frightening. For a moment, I swear that Ari was radiating a death aura. It might be best to get on our good side. So what should we do first? You must create a character. Wait, I must develop a world lore. Ari narrows her eyes in concentration for a brief moment. Steampunk setting. You are in Elgir Metropolis, a bustling city with clockwork machinery set to your needs, and humans find ways to reach the heavens. Your fortunes are blessed and placing you squarely in the middle class. Metropolis is enlightening and thriving. All this, you are grateful. Please choose one of the following classes. The Knight, a powerful yet cumbersome fighting type. The Heister, a rogue with a sly mind and wit, with nimble feet and fingers. The Alchemist, a master of magical artifacts and elements, with a scientific twist. The Doctor, a knowledgeable cleric. Generally for girls. The Musketeer, a champion of firearms. The Engineer, an inquisitive innovator of ingenious inventions. The Entertainer, vulnerable to battle, but charming and convincing. Wait, does she really come up with all these in just 5 seconds? Wow, that sounds so fun. I don't know what to pick. Ain't it obvious? There's only one good class. Here we go, time for Mercenary Masato, the unbeatable fighter. The Doctor! Wait, what? Masato, you know that the Doctor is a healing type, right? What do you think, I'm an idiot? I always wanted to be the cleric, but they always made me the fighter. Well, this is getting interesting. Very well, Masato Doctor. She doesn't even seem phased. As for me, I'll be the Heister. Sounds exciting. And I'll try my hand at Musketeer. That fits with your aim. She whips in my direction, ready for a snappish comeback, but then realizes that I was complimenting her. Oh, thank you. Her aim was really impressive. I'll be an entertainer. Oh, so useless. You say that when we're in a foreign nation, and the only thing keeping us from chopping block are my liar skills. An entertainer could be really useful. Not that I'd say that out loud. So, Dr. Masato, Heister Akira, Musketeer Elizabeth, Entertainer Rui, Yama, Masaki, and Yahiko remain. Yama, why don't you pick first? Sure. I overview the list of classes in my head. Logically, we should probably all pick different classes so that we're all a balanced group. That leaves me with Alchemist, Engineer, or the Knight. Being a Knight sounds like I'll have to do a lot of fighting. Being an Alchemist sounds really cliche. I guess I'll be an Engineer. What do they do exactly? Engineer stuff, of course. Ah, yes, Akira. Yes, Akira, so I gathered. In that case, I'll be a Knight. What? No? Not an Alchemist? Being an Alchemist sounds so boring. Knights are much more heroic and daring. Well, that's no surprise. Now to start. Wait, hold up! Yahiko suddenly pops next to me, apparently done with ordering the budget-breaking 8 high teas. Sato, my man, I thought we agreed that we don't need to use pen and paper. We did? Without responding, Yahiko reaches into his backpack and displays something. No, some things are on the table. Merry Christmas, everyone! It isn't Christmas. Yahiko gives our sight codes, gleaming with the shininess of newly released product. Where could Yahiko have gotten these? Technically, they're just prototypes, but they should work amazingly well for art purposes. As we fit the futuristic spectacles over our eyes, Ari taps the table with impatience. Okay, I'm saving. So apparently this will be a forever long ending. And I shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.